Hey guys, it's me, Trevis. I wanted to create this short video for the cherry on top, the peak of March Madness, the national championship game, which is tomorrow. I'm recording this afternoon on Sunday. It is tomorrow, Monday, April 5th, 9:20 p.m. Eastern Time. We have number one overall seed Gonzaga, hasn't lost a game all season, versing number one Baylor. So, the reason I record this, I want to explain some crazy stuff before the game actually happens. So I would say probably majority of the world, they don't believe in unexplainable things or supernatural things or telekinesis or foresight or anything like that, right? So throughout my life, this is something I don't think I've ever talked publicly about because there's no way to really prove it. So it was all hearsay, if you will. But throughout my life, there's been a handful of occurrences where it's hard to explain, which is probably another reason why it hasn't gone public, is there's just been thoughts that have just sprouted up in my head at random, like not me reading something or watching something, just thoughts, ideas, words, phrases, something like that has sprouted up in my head. And let me just give you an example here because it's really hard to explain. So there's times where I can be watching like a live talk show, so not pre-recorded, live talk show, and then for whatever reason, I'll just randomly, without hesitation, just say a sentence that I don't even know why I just said. I'll literally like a 4 or 5+ word sentence, and it doesn't make sense because it's not anything that I'm thinking about or looking at or anything within context of what anybody that's around me. I'm like, why did I just say that? And then right after I say that, the person on TV on a live television show says the exact same sentence, and there's no possible human explainable way on why that happened. So there's been things like that where I'll think about something or I'll see something, or even sometimes it's imagery, sometimes it's sentences, and there's never been a way to like fine tune it to make it a stronger thing to just figure it out so I can use it, so I can maybe use it intentionally, because it's always been just random. But there's been at least probably 6 or 7 times that I can remember that these kind of things have happened, right? So why am I talking about that and March Madness at the same time? I'll tell you. When the bracket first dropped on Selection Sunday a couple weeks ago, that's when all the teams were put into the bracket of who's versing who in the first round. I'm looking at the bracket. I believe it was on my computer, not on my phone, and this is like within the first 24 hours of the matchups being created. So this is way before any game started. And I remember that for some reason I was just getting, it wasn't an image, it wasn't a visual thing, it was just kind of a concept or an aura, if you will, in my brain about Texas, about the state of Texas, not the college university of Texas, the Longhorns, but the state of Texas. I'm just looking, and I just had this thing in my brain that just kept saying Texas, or showing me like I said, it wasn't a word that I literally saw. Like when you close your eyes, you like picture a word and you see the word. It wasn't like that. It was just something in my brain. It was Texas, and so I was like, because these things are so far in between. Like I said, there's only been like 6 or 7 times that I can actually remember something happening, and then something happening right after that, or leading up to that, or something where I go, oh hey, I was just. That's what I just said, or anything like that. Just things. I know there's things where like you're thinking of a song, you turn on the radio and the song's on the radio. It's way more than that, because I mean, if you're thinking about a popular song and you're listening to a radio station that has a popular those types of songs, then there's a good chance they're going to play that song. But it's like that, but on a much larger scale. So back to Texas. So I'm thinking Texas. And because it's happened so few and far between, and because I don't have a way of like knowing that it's actually somebody or something trying to tell me something, that I don't really pay too much attention to it. I just have it and I go like, I don't like think about it. It's there and then it's gone. So one of the first games of the tournament, Texas Southern was a play-in seed, so 16 seed versus 16 seed to get that one of the last spots of the bracket. Texas Southern upset Mount St. Mary's. I go, interesting. And I think that's when the first time, so this is maybe 2 or 3 days later, the first time that I recollected, I go, I was having some kind of like Texas thing in my head. Oh, maybe it's nothing. Like, I would have never bet on a 16th seed versus 16th seed. I never paid attention to school, so I don't know anything about, their basketball team, and I'm just not going to throw money at the wind. Then, I'm going to pull up the schedule here to make sure I'm saying the matchups correctly. So that was... So Friday comes around. So this is Friday, March 19th. So Friday comes around. Texas Tech beats Utah State. Of course, there are 6 seeds, so that was nothing crazy. Baylor beats Hartford. They're number 1 seed, nothing crazy there. Houston, number 2 seed, beats Cleveland State, nothing crazy. Then, Purdue, 4 seed versus North Texas, a 13 seed. At halftime, I believe halftime North Texas was up, or the game went to overtime. So this is a 13 seed going to overtime against a 4 seed, which is crazy. And in overtime, so this is on March 19th, I posted in my sports betting community chat room. I said, listen, if North Texas beats Purdue, then I said one of these teams, and I listed teams from Texas because I started recollecting this imagery or this thing that happened. I go, if North Texas beats Purdue, one of these 3 teams, which are the most powerful teams from Texas, are going to be winning the national championship. Or not, maybe I said one of 2 teams even. And so this is March 19th, and so, and the games keep going on. North Texas wound up actually beating, which was one of the biggest upsets of the entire bracket, wound up beating Purdue in the first round. So then we go to the next day of games. Not those games, but different games. So let's see here. The next one from the state of Texas. I think there was only one game from the state of Texas on the following day. This was the second biggest upset of the first big round, which is technically called the second round because of the play-in games. University of Texas was versing Abilene Christian. Both of these schools are from Texas. So, I mean, a Texas team was going to win either way. But it's the second biggest upset of this round of games for the bracket. Abilene Christian upset Texas as a 14 seed, which is crazy, by 1 point, not even going to overtime, just beating them by 1 point. So I go, okay. We have Texas Southern winning their play-in game. We have the state of Texas, or not the state of Texas, University of Texas. That's 2. We have Texas Tech 3. We have Abilene Christian being from Texas, having the second biggest upset of this round. That's 4. We have Houston, Baylor. Like, we have all of these teams from Texas who are winning. The only team that didn't win was Texas, but they lost to a Texas team. So technically, a Texas team won that game. And that's what I'm like, I brought, like, I talked to my wife about it, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, if I would have known that this is what my brain or whatever outside force was setting me this, I would have put like a lot of money on it, but there was no way for me to have known that's what it was trying to tell me by saying Texas. That all of the teams and any game that has a team from Texas in it, like the state of Texas, is going to win their game. So, reason why I want to record this is a team from Texas is in the national championship game against the undefeated Gonzaga Bulldogs, and that is the Baylor Bears. So the Baylor Bears have been one of the top teams in the country, but they're actually the underdogs. If you're betting on, I don't know if you know about betting, but if you bet on the underdog, you get more money than if you bet on the person who's favored to win. That's a simple explanation if you've never done anything betting wise. So I wanted to record this because March 19th, I was like, when North Texas took Purdue to overtime, I go, listen, if the 13th seed beats the number 4 seed in overtime, the team from one of these 2 teams, I think I said Baylor or Houston, which actually were the 2 teams that competed to get that last spot or the first spot in the national championship game. So, long story short, if Baylor or when Baylor wins the national championship game, I can say that my brain was trying to tell me to go state of Texas. What was it? I don't even know what Selection Sunday was. Maybe March 14th, I think. So March 14th was Selection Sunday. So that's when my brain, when I was looking at the bracket, was giving me these Texas things. Texas destroys in the first round, has the two of the 3 biggest upsets of that round. And then yeah, we have a team of Texas in the championship game, the Baylor Bears. If you have money that you are okay losing, because I'm not saying this is a guarantee, I'm just saying this is the first time we were able to get financially rewarded from one of my thingies going on in my head. If you have money that you are comfortable losing, recommend putting it on the plus 175 underdogs of Baylor. When they win, you're welcome. If they lose, we're never going to do one of these again. But if you are, let me know in the comments. Good luck, and we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Because I'm definitely, this time, betting on it.